This is, I'm going to just call it an emergency Cardano video. I did not anticipate doing a video tonight. It's the Cardano daily chart that just has me saying, you know what, I want to break this down. I want to put this out there. We just tracked the bear market. This was a multi-year thing, exiting the bear market, getting into altcoin season. And when we have a daily setup like this, a chart like this, I have to just do a video. That's why I'm doing the video. So it is, this entire move is a multi-year move that I am so interested in right now. 19 hours, 55 minutes on this daily candle is important. So that's why I'm doing the video. I'm going to break it all down in the video. So hit the subscribe, hit the like on the way in, and let's just jump into it. So we have kind of a lot to cover, but I'm going to really try and just condense it to be very simple. This is zoomed out, and I've been talking about this. The bull market doors for ADA, the upper end of the doors, this range that you see here, the upper end of it, where ADA is right now on the daily chart, is the previous swing high in this bear market, entering the bear market. So entering the bear market, swing high to the 20-week moving average. It's breaking that swing high. That's what it is. Last cycle, it was back here, all the way in April 2018, pulling into the 20-week, going lower into the bear market, breaking that swing high, the upper end of the bull market doors last cycle, just ADA exploded into its bull run. So this is where ADA is right now. And if you look at, and I'm going to use Bitcoin dominance data, but this altcoin season starting, we've been tracking this in terms of Bitcoin dominance starting to fall. If you just look at where it is compared to this moment last cycle, and this is where things get crazy, we are right here. The candles are even looking similar. But when I was looking at the daily chart, I've really been watching it closely, namely because we fell below this 20-day moving average. And I've been watching it, and I don't know why. I'm just kind of like, man, are we going to see resistance here? And we might. There's 19 hours, 53 minutes of this current daily candle. I don't know how this is going to play out. I could upload the video and we just start falling. There's a wick of resistance at the 20-day, but we're above it and we're approaching the upper end of the bull market doors. And here's where things get crazy. If you go to last cycle, this is what ADA looked like breaking through those bull market doors. And this is why it's so critical for ADA right now to really get above this 20-day moving average and stay above it. So going back to last cycle, check it out. It kind of just consolidated. We have the dips in there, similar to the dip that we just got. There's dips post altcoin season starting. Here it is, altcoin season starting. There's dips, but consolidation above the 20-day before the big breakout. So let's just make note, beginning of February is when ADA broke out of those bull market doors. So if I go over to the Bitcoin dominance chart, just look at this. This is insane data that I just can't even figure out how it's playing out this way. So Bitcoin dominance falling, altcoin season triggered. Bitcoin dominance falling, altcoin season triggered. And just notice all this kind of like this resistance at the 20-week moving average. And then right now, if we look at last February or the February of the cycle back then, right after altcoin season started, just look at that. Resistance at the 20-week moving average. And what I want to make note of right now is kind of just February, beginning of February and all of February into March. Just this entire range right here. And I want to evaluate. That's Bitcoin dominance. So this means it was sideways. And at that moment, if we look at ADA in February, ADA was exploding. So Bitcoin dominance was kind of sideways on that weekly chart, right? That's because Bitcoin was making a nice move as well. If we go look at the chart now, there is a very strong possibility that we kind of range sideways for weeks, if not a month or so, on the Bitcoin dominance chart before finally getting this next altcoin trigger, this altcoin season trigger. And that's what happened back here. It just boom, it fell. But even if Bitcoin dominance is sideways, look what happened last cycle while Bitcoin dominance was trading sideways into February. ADA was exploding. Now, if we go and look at Bitcoin dominance kind of from a different angle, here's what Bitcoin dominance looks like on the daily chart. And you can see on the daily chart, Bitcoin dominance seeing resistance at the 20-day moving average. I want to go back to last cycle. Bitcoin dominance at this moment, and let's look at February, because that's kind of the key data we're tracking here. The beginning of February, what was happening? Just look at this. Continued resistance under that 20-day moving average. So this is the exact moment that we are in the cycles, almost down to the day. It's mind-boggling to me that this has played out the way in which it's playing out. And then if we go and we look at ADA now, where's the daily? Here's the daily chart. The question that I have, and this is why I'm doing this video, you can see after the consolidation started right here, like this swing high and then falling into the 20-day, it took, 30 days or so for ADA to really break out. And if we go look at the chart now, you can just see, let's take it from this swing high, little consolidation there, obviously a big consolidation here. Right now, we're 20 days. So here's where I'm becoming very interested in the next week and a half. Is ADA going to just kind of hobble around here, or are we going to get kind of an earlier breakout out of these bull market doors for ADA? There are some telling signs happening right now, and I want to mention these. SUI, for instance, there's two things. SUI just absolutely going nuts right now, still breaking higher. This is a weekly chart. It's good to see other altcoins making higher highs, making moves. We're in that season where altcoins take turns, right? So we want to see altcoins, even if you don't hold them, we want to see them taking turns, because that means if you're an ADA holder, there's a strong likelihood ADA's turn is coming up. The other thing that I want to mention, the other chart that I want to mention is the Ethereum chart. It's the most bullish altcoin chart, even if you don't hold it, because this is the signal of all signals. Ethereum has not even had its breakout yet. So that speaks to the broader kind of question of where are we in the cycle? Is the bull market top close? Like, are we at the top? Some people think we're at the top. This answers the question for me. There's many pieces of data that answer the question. This is just an altcoin chart that answers it very clearly. Ethereum still has its breakout, and we've not had the breakout yet. So that is bullish for a chart like ADA, as ADA is sitting at its bull market doors. And right now on the weekly chart, what I want to mention is it's almost mimicking exactly what it was doing last cycle. If you look at the RSI, the slower moving momentum oscillator, just right now consolidating a little bit to the downside. What was it doing right here before exploding through the bull market doors? Almost at the exact same area on the RSI, consolidating on the RSI. We just got into overbought on the stock RSI, the quicker moving momentum oscillator. The charts are almost literal mirrors. It's insane to look at. Now, if we go and we look at, let's see, I want to look at Bitcoin, not Bitcoin dominance on the daily, but on the weekly. I want to make a note of this as well. We just looked at Cardano and the similarities on the oscillators and the momentum of it. Look at this moment, altcoin season triggered on the Bitcoin dominance chart here. Look at the RSI, how it just fell right here. And we're just at the beginning of this little consolidation. Let's go back. Look at this. This range around February, right when ADA was breaking the bull market doors last cycle, beginning of February, Bitcoin had just fallen to this area. Takes a little bit of a chill pill on the weekly and then starts falling even more. Stock RSI, similar. Look at this. Stock RSI oversold in the beginning of February. Right now, we're hitting that same exact mark right now in terms of this altcoin season. So go back to an ADA chart on the daily. You can see why I'm watching all of these things, the confluence of all of this data across charts, across cycles. And I'm just kind of like, wow, at this moment, the 20-day moving average is actually very critical at this moment. But we're just below the upper range of the bull market doors. In terms of percentage-wise, we're looking at 8% move. And it's that $1.25 to $1.30 area that ADA just has to explode through. And we could truly be kicking off something like we saw back last cycle. Things have really repeated in such a consistent manner. And that's not an opinion. I've been tracking it on this YouTube channel. If you've been watching closely, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's nothing special I've done. I think all of us are just taking this data and we're just watching it play out and anticipating these things. But right now, I can't help but just watch. Are we about to get this type of breakout on these ADA charts? And I want to say, and I should have prefaced the video a little bit more at the beginning by just saying, just because it happened last cycle and just because it's looking so similar doesn't mean it's going to play out that way. I don't know. Market makers, exchanges, they might just be like, you know what? It's looking too obvious. We need to diverge this entire chart. This can't happen. I don't know how these things work exactly, but what I do know is the data has been very helpful in anticipating, at the very least, the possibilities. ADA breakout, so in play right now. The question I have is, will it be choppy for a little bit longer? Maybe fall back below the 20, put in some type of structure here on this daily chart, I think could be important as well. Or is ADA just going to make a run for it? Maybe in the coming days, break out of this channel, the bull market doors. We go back to the weekly chart. This is what it looked like. There were a couple of weeks of consolidation at this moment last cycle. You can see it right there. Those 2 weekly red candles. This is exactly where we are this cycle. The question is, are we going to have something similar, or is it going to kind of break out a little bit earlier? That's what I'm watching on the ADA chart. So interesting to me, everybody. And you know me, I'm just tracking it. And I've said time and time again, I think $3 could come quickly. We took our fractal earlier today from this moment last cycle to kind of these swing highs over here. We pull it over. Since price is higher, the targets are higher, right? For that power burst to the upside. $3 is in there, and it could really truly happen by end of January. So it's going to be fun to watch, interesting to watch, but I really wanted to cover this price action tonight randomly because to me, it's something I'm watching, and I don't know how it's going to play out, but I wanted to put that data out there for you. And we're just prepared either way. You know, there's always downside. There's absolute resistance here, but fun to track. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I appreciate you watching. And if you enjoyed the video, the content, please consider hitting that like button. Your support means a ton. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.